Beyond the Rig.
Welcome to Beyond the Rig. My name's Brett Stabler. This is my mini-me. We call him Shane Taylor. He'll be.
I'm not as mini-me, but
if we were to stand up, actually we're about the same size.
We are.
But hey, listen, you've got the two of us today. Usually you would see Will and Linda hosting Beyond the Rig. The two of them have come down and contracted some illness. I know Linda's got some rare disease that is affecting her voice right now, and she's coughing like crazy. So they asked us to fill in, and we so generously said
graciously.
yes.
Yeah, we're excited to be here, and we miss them. We'll have them back soon, I'm sure.
If Shane gets a little nervous along the way, don't worry. He will ease into this, but his voice may sound a little shaky at first. But it's all right. His wife remembers that on their wedding day when he was super nervous then, too. So
okay.
It'll be okay.
This is going to be fun, let me tell you. How long is this podcast supposed to last?
Well, I don't know, so we're just going to go with it until we're told that we're done. But until then, there are some things that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be chatting with a driver, a trucker with a substantial social media following. We're going to hear about her story and look at some of the cool opportunities and experiences that have come from sharing her content online with all sorts of different audiences, including drivers all over the road. And then also a little discussion about health and wellness for our drivers who are out there, they're on the road. But before we get to her, we're going to go ahead and show a little bit of a introductory clip. Is that correct? Shane, is that what we're doing right now?
That's exactly.
Or should we introduce her first?
No, we're going to show the clip first, Brett, I think.
No, I think we're going to, because you said that, we're going to go ahead and introduce her first.
Okay.
This is, who we're going to be talking to today is Shelby. She's been in the trucking industry now for about 5 years. She dropped out of, I don't want to say she dropped out of college because she was finished with her 4-year degree and working on her master's when she was 22 years of age when she decided, hey, I'm going to stop doing this for a time. I want to go see the country. I want to become a professional truck driver. And that's what she did. She left her master's program to jump into a truck and get trained and head out on the road.
That's amazing.
Shane, is that something you think you could have done?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. You've got a lot of fear and apprehension
I'm
about
really
that.
excited to talk to Shelby about that. I think it's...
Yeah, and so she'll share some of those experiences that she had coming to that conclusion or making that decision to jump out and jump in the truck. She's also used her social media to share her experiences and kind of some of her growth and what she's in her YouTube following subscriptions alone. She has a little over 250,000 subscribers on YouTube, which...
substantial.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think if I started a YouTube account, I would have myself, my wife, and probably Shane, and that's about it. So
I don't know if I would actually follow you, Brett.
Shane, I think you would.
I don't think I would.
Let's be honest.
I think I would block you, actually.
Okay, well, hey, a block is better than a no-show at all. Her channel is called Happiness by the Mile, and it's awesome. And we're going to go ahead and share a little clip about Shelby right now.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away.
He sent me a message. He's like, yeah, hey, I like what you're doing.
About to see the world in action. What we can be. Life with no distractions. We'll get away. This is what we waited for.
So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce Shelby. Shelby, welcome to the show Beyond the Rig.
Welcome, Shelby.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for your time. We know it's precious. Hey, why don't you go ahead and start off by just kind of telling us your story, how you got into trucking, and just kind of go through that, walk us through that.
Well, I think you did a really good job of kind of summing it up, how it kind of started. I did leave my master's, hopped on a truck, and I did end up actually living on a truck for a year. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. I originally thought it was just going to be a year trip. It was going to be a gap year. as what we call in school, just taking a break, and I was burnt out and just ready for something else. And I grew up in Southwest Florida, so I grew up in kind of a bubble in terms of geography and just the weather, and never seen snow. And this was completely crazy of me to do at the time, because I just didn't, I honestly had no idea what I was jumping into. I had no family that was in trucking, and it's not like anybody could guide me or hold my hand. And so it was very interesting, but I felt this weird desire to do it, like a passion for it. And I can't describe exactly what it is, but sometimes it's almost like what draws you to certain people. You just kind of know that, hey, this feels good, or I should go towards this. And that's kind of how this snowball started, and it's just turned into what it is now. And it's honestly, it's great. I love what I do, and I love this industry, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Shelby, were there other things you were thinking about doing besides trucking, or you were like, I'm going to do trucking because of this, or you know what I'm saying? Because that seems like a really big step to go from a master's degree to go out over the road, So were you considering other things, or how did you decide on trucking then?
Wow. So my master's, what I was studying was, I really wanted to work with special needs children. So my direction was towards pediatric neurology, and that was something I was extremely passionate about. I loved it, but there was something about it that I considered to be just almost trapping, like in white walls. So I felt kind of lost in a way. And so it wasn't really, I still wanted to do it. I thought I just had I had this group of friends who knew about my weird obsession that I had with semi trucks, and I don't know where it came from. Ever since I was little, I would see them on the road. I'd see them at night, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, look at that. That's so cool. And I think also it stemmed from me being very small in general. Like, I'm a small person. I'm only 5 foot tall, and that's okay with me. But I always thought, wow, that would be so cool to say, like, I could drive that thing, And I think that was kind of my main thing when I was younger. Like, that was what I wanted to do because I was so small. And it was nothing more than that. That's the weirdest thing. It was nothing more than, wow, that's really cool. I want to say I can do that. So therefore, that is the only thing on my bucket list as of right now. And you know what? I needed some friend to tell me, hey, it's okay to take a break and go do something fun. And that was my version of something fun. So that's basically how it all came to be, was somebody had to give me permission or give me a way out. And as soon as I found that way out, I took it because it just pulled me that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's pretty brave, I think, to just step out into the unknown a little bit and do that. So
yeah, I think a lot of people have, you referred to it as you just had this feeling that you wanted to move in that direction. I think people in general, they get feelings to do certain things, but they don't always act on it. So it's refreshing to hear somebody say, hey, this was what I felt. This is what was pulling me this direction. And I went with it, and look where you're at now. And now that you went with that impression and went that direction, and now you're in the industry, tell us, what is it about the trucking industry that you love?
Okay, so when I did get in, I do have some older extended family that would kind of tell me after I got into it. They're like, oh, hey, yeah, we're part of the industry in some way, or we're related to the industry in some way. They're diesel mechanics, and some of them are actually drivers themselves or have been in the past. And so they would tell me these stories now that I'm out here. and be like, oh, this is how it used to be, like this sort of camaraderie and family oriented industry. And yes, I'm aware of like some of like I basically jumped into what would be considered to me, even in some aspects, a boys club. And do I feel like needed to be accepted by that? No, not really. I'm going to go do my own thing regardless. But it was something that I kind of felt, I don't know, guilty about in a way, where I was like, oh man, am I like messing up some kind of tradition or something like that? But at the same time, I found it extremely exhilarating to be out there. Not only like does it feel free, like I feel incredibly free to have just sort of one task at hand and be like, hey, you know what, you can this is your task today or this week. Get it done on your own time, do what you need to do, work within the parameters that you're given, and we'll see you later. And for some reason, for me, having that kind of freedom was exhilarating. And then not only that, the people that I met along the way that were suffering just like I was in some instances, where you don't know where you're going, or maybe traffic's really bad, or maybe the truck stop is just crazy and there's no parking spots. And there was even this time that there's, and I'm sure we see this more nowadays because there's a lot of trucks on the East Coast, but there was a line a mile long on the breakdown lane past the rest area of just trucks parked to sleep. Wow. It was crazy. And I was part of that line one day. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane, but I have nowhere else to go. And it was crazy because we were all experiencing the same problem together. And I think that's one of the things that brings us together in this industry, is like a lot of our problems are very, very similar, even though we may be doing very different jobs, because of course, flatbed is completely different from reefer. And it's not like we have the same struggles, like getting loaded and unloaded, but we do have very similar struggles in terms of living on the road. And I think that's what brings us all together. And I think the fact that we can just kind of connect on that level makes it just very interesting, because our industry is very different from anything else in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned some of the challenges that you face kind of every day as a truck driver, and I'm just wondering, like, how do you cope with those? Like you mentioned that mile-long wait, and, you know, you never know how you're going to get treated at the shipper, to, you know, just the truck stop, all kinds of challenges, right? Like, what do you do? Do you call a friend? Do you listen to music? Like, what's your way to cope with, you know, because there's a lot of waiting in trucking, right? And what do you do? Like, what do you do to cope with that?
Well, really, to be honest, I have a select number of friends that I do call on the daily. Like, even when I'm not trucking, I still talk to them. Like, even this morning before this call, today, I talked to one of my best friends for a couple of hours. And it's something you get used to. They kind of, you'll notice that you'll have a friend group that kind of keeps you together, but it's also a rotating friend group. So like, there's going to be times where you run into people that will be with you for like a year or two, and they will be in like the same kind of job you are, and they'll bond with you on that aspect. But then you'll meet people with all ranges of experience, from like, 40 years to just 2 months. And you can learn something from each and every one of those people. And I think it's important to just always be open to, getting help from anybody and everybody. You may not even know the person that you're needing help from, but one of the things that I've learned over the road, how to cope with like being in stressful situations, or just dealing with shippers, receivers, anybody in general that you don't know already that you're coming in contact to for the first time is be extremely kind and humble, because I don't care how bad of a day somebody's having. They can be mean to me all they want. The only thing I can control is myself. And I found that if I just continue to be kind to them, it changes their mood, believe it or not. Like, I don't know. I know people just like, they get frustrated. They're just like, I didn't do anything to you. Why you got to be mean to me? And sometimes you just got to sit back and be like, the only thing I can control is myself. And it literally hurts me 0% to be kind to that person. And I think we need more of that in our industry, because everything is extremely frustrating, but you'll find that even dealing with that person that's upset, it's only hurting you to be upset. You're allowing that person to hurt you. So it's like, that is the one thing that I've been trying really hard to encourage people to do is you have a choice to be happy. You have a choice to be kind. And believe it or not, it's almost selfish in a way to be kind and to be happy, because you are, in a sense, protecting yourself or like influencing your own mood. And you have that control. You allow people to change that. So that's one of my main things.
Yeah. What a great message.
Yeah, Shelby, you definitely are, as we can tell, a very happy person.
Yeah, super
Probably,
positive.
whether it's by nature or not, you've done a great job of doing that. I know Shane's been trying to do that a lot more with me, be very happy.
Yeah, it's
I
tough.
tend to be a downer.
He does. He pulls me down.
It's just the way life has been for me. But
I got to get away from him, to be honest.
he's cheering me up, though. So we're glad that he's on top of it here for us. But, hey, speaking of happiness, right, we understand that you recently hosted a truck show, which I'm sure was a pretty cool deal. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So in our industry, we do have truck shows. We have them all year round. And they are just, there's a different kind of, what I've noticed is there's a different kind of, just like we have cliques.
Yeah.
Sometimes like cattle haulers or will most of the time know a lot of other cattle haulers, because they do a very very distinctive job in our industry and run under different kind of rules. And like, just like your guys' company, there will be a lot of company drivers that know other company drivers. And so what I found with showing is show trucks have a show truck family. And this is really, really cool, because not only have I been able to experience these beautiful, beautiful trucks, but also the people who drive them. You would think, like, if you had a truck like this, you might be like a little bit full of yourself, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, there's probably a few out there. But for the most part, these guys are just, and girls, are incredible people. Just incredibly humble, and just, it was just eye-opening to be a part of their sort of, what they called their show family, is what they called it. And I can't explain the feeling that I had when I was there. It was a feeling of belonging, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So they didn't shun me for being an outsider. They were just like, hey, come be part of the family, and which is what we need more in trucking in general. But, we're not going to influence everybody to feel that way. But when you do have that sort of connectedness, that's what really makes our job worth doing and makes all the sacrifice worth doing. And the cool thing is also, these people at the truck shows, a lot of these show trucks are working trucks. They work 365 all seasons, rain, sleet, and snow. They're going. And it's insane the amount of care that they put into these trucks, because the truck is in a sense, like, it's almost like a part of their family. Like, it's another entity of their family. And the most awesome thing about the truck shows is where, guys are out on the road all the time, away from family for a long time. the truck show is a place where like the family can get together, and you will see like even children like coming up, shining these trucks, like, and they're so proud to be a part of this. And I can't explain like what that kind of community is like without like taking you there and being like, let's do this together, you know? And even my camera crew that came with me, they were just like, yeah, I know, it's just trucks, you know, we're just gonna go do our jobs. And I can't tell you, they had such a good time and they enjoyed meeting the people. And as soon as there was another show, I sent a group message out to them and I was like, hey guys, there's another show here. And they were ecstatic. They were sending like firebomb emojis and like everything else. They were like, oh my gosh, yes, let's go. Because it was just such, I don't know how to explain, like it was almost emanating and like emotion and happiness while we were there.
Yeah, I did a little bit of Instagram snooping. I jumped on your feed, and I think I might have seen one of the truck shows where it looked like a dance club almost with all of these lights coming off of these trucks. Like, it was pretty awesome, actually. I was like, what the heck is going on here? But is that what you're talking about, one of the shows you did?
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually what was really cool about that particular instance that you're talking about, it was nighttime, so all the trucks put on all their lights.
Yeah.
And so like every fourth or fifth truck would have like a stereo system going, playing music. So you could like be in one section of the line and hear like this certain type of music, walk down a little bit, get like a completely different kind of music. And they didn't like compete against each other. I don't know how to describe it, but it was like one would just be in one place and one would be in another place. And you could just keep walking and mingle with like different people and the feeling of getting inside a truck like that and sitting down and like I don't know if you guys also drive, but like being inside something that was somebody put so much thought and so much care into, you can feel it like when you're near the truck, and you can understand how much went into like building that and how much sacrifice and sweat and everything that person did, and that's their way of kind of, it's their trophy for how much work they've done, and it's well deserved, and it's great to see all these other people coming together and saying, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like, is a great appreciation kind of thing for everybody.
Are these the trucks that you see sometimes where it looks like the sleeper berth area, it looks like a small apartment? Like the sleeper's extended and it's huge, and there's like a big room back there.
There is a couple of trucks there that were like that. There was probably only a couple that were like that, but a show truck in general is just one that was kind of customized.
Yeah, just tricked out, just chromed out, and the night stuff was just. I would have loved to have gone check that out. That was really cool. Yeah, that's called research, Brett. You should look into it.
Yeah, I haven't done that since college. But thank you for sharing your research.
Yeah, you bet.
Shane's in our research and development department. There's been a lot accomplished, but he's there, so we're happy he's there. Hey, Shelby, let's talk for a minute just about your social media, especially like your YouTube presence. I mean, 250,000 subscribers, that's no chump change. That's a pretty big task to be able to get 250,000 subscribers. Talk to us a little bit about your social media, how you got into it, how it evolved, and kind of where you're at now.
So I believe it all started on Instagram. And the cool thing about it was not like intentional in any way to become what it is today, of course. I started with pictures that had nothing to do with trucks. And what I would do was I'd just write kind of a little bit about my day. And I had some friends that were truck drivers that would like comment on my posts, right? And so here's this picture. It has nothing to do with trucks. But this caption had to do with like my kind of trucking related problems. And so my friends would all come together in the comments and they would write like these paragraphs or like something that was extremely helpful to me or to another driver. Or if some other driver came in the comments and was like, hey, you know, I have this such and such problem, they would also like attack that. And it weirdly grew to like 8,000 followers before I even started posting truck pictures. So it blows my mind because I know that this was growth from people sharing this like sort of just comment section and saying, hey, like, what do you think of this? Or things like that. And it was such an honest kind of helpful growth of a community that was interested in the same thing, which was helping each other, and mainly in the trucking industry. So started posting trucking photos, and of course it took off. And I think because the foundation of the community was one that just wanted to come together and help each other, that that foundation allowed for my channels to become what they are, because it just carried through. And when I did start actually working on it, it was in an attempt to kind of provide a space where people could come together and ask questions, because the trucking community, as you know, is very much either a game of telephone or kind of like Fight Club, and the first rule, you know, is you don't talk about it. And so, like, for example, there's no rule book for some rookie driver to come out here and know, hey, if I sit in the fuel island too long, longer than 15 minutes, somebody might do something to my truck. That driver does not know that unless another driver has passed on that information to them. You know, it's where else are you going to find this? And then there's just other little things, and it's a lot of unspoken rules. Not only that, trucking school doesn't prepare you. It doesn't teach you to be a truck mechanic. It doesn't teach you what to do in every single situation, and no school or course could, right? And we're a very experience-driven industry where experience is king. Like, if you've been through it, there's so much you've learned from it. And this is like one of the things that I really, really hope people attack in this way. Your bad days are going to be your best days, because that's where you're going to learn the most. And so when I look back on all of my worst quotes, worst days, I look at them fondly, because yeah, I may have sat down in the snow and cried at my tire, but in that moment, I learned something, and I learned something that helped me in every other situation in the future. And that is so important. And honestly, if every day was easy, then my life would be so boring. And I appreciate the challenges. And so, yes, my platforms grew based on my challenges, and then people coming together to help solve them, or to help kind of give advice to new truckers or old truckers. It doesn't matter, because like I said, it doesn't matter your experience or how many years you've been in this industry. You can learn something every day from anybody. And I think that was the main thing of the platform. And I think that's why it took off, because it was something that was just truly good at heart, and I wasn't wanting anything from it. I even like put so much time into trying to, originally I summarized the CDL manual, And I put a lot of time into trying to make that easier for people to get their licenses, because there's just so much that's unnecessary and it's a waste of time. And I just want to make it a little bit easier, because you're never going to run out of problems. I assure you, you're never going to run out of problems in this industry. And anything I can do to kind of help just that first hurdle, which is a huge one, getting out here and not knowing anything, I think that's where I like to be.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I think some of those that may be watching or listening today are interested in understanding, like, maybe a few ideas that you may have or tips that you can give them as far as creating their own content and getting it out there. Like, what recommendations would you give people that are just, trying to grow their social media following?
I think honestly, if you want to create something, I mean, nothing should stop you. It doesn't matter like how many people see it, so to say. If you're doing it with the right intention, and you're doing it for the good of, I don't know, yourself because you enjoy creating something, or the good of somebody else because you want to help somebody, I think that is reason enough to create. And as it goes out there, maybe 5 people saw that. Maybe 5 people saw something you worked really hard on, and you're kind of a little bit defeated by only 5 people seeing that. But let's say 1 or 2 of those 5 people learned something incredibly valuable from you that they couldn't have learned elsewhere, because our experiences are all different, and we all say things differently. We all teach things differently. We all kind of deal with things differently. And I think it's just the one thing that's important about our industry is our camaraderie, because we could not survive without each other. Like, and I don't think a lot of people think about that so much. As truck drivers, we only do what we do out here and survive out here with people that are helping us. We may never see that person again. And it's so important to just keep that kind of open mind about, hey, I could do something really beneficial for somebody else. And maybe that makes you happy. Maybe that's what makes you happy. It makes me happy. I am unbelievably kind to anybody and everybody I can be. I will compliment anybody at any time, just to kind of help their day, because maybe they didn't talk to anybody that day, But as far as growing your social media, I think if you're doing it with a positive outlook, I don't think it matters so much if the numbers add up, but if your intentions are good, I think
you're a great example of that, because your following started out kind of as like an altruistic way of being, like just putting good out there, helping others without you even really saying, you know what I mean? Like it was just people helping each other, which a lot of people will start following or following people because of the negativity or whatever they want to put out there. And so the fact that you're putting good out there and people want to follow that, I think speaks volumes, and probably something that people should pay attention to,
Well, I think you're right. And I think if they're positive, I think what you're saying is right. Like you'll attract more people.
Yeah.
More positive you are, and the more helpful you are. And I think the key is to just try to avoid certain topics, because they can definitely put a barrier.
Totally.
Can invoke different feelings.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? And if that is your thing, go for it.
Run with
like
it.
That is your tribe. Go for it. But for me, my goal does not align with being political in any way, or talking about genders or anything like that, And so, and I think just because this is what I care about, those are the people that are coming that care about the same thing. So I think you just need to put out there what you care about.
Yeah.
And then those people will be attracted to that.
Well, we definitely need more kindness in the world, don't we? So anybody that's going to put positive, kind, humble thoughts and impressions out there, we need more of it. So it's good to see.
And you've already taught Shane
Yep.
what he can do better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we appreciate that, Shelby. We really do.
He needs a little humility.
Hey, I want to switch gears for a second. The stereotype, I guess, in the trucking world is that it's a rough lifestyle. It's very difficult to stay healthy because you're at truck stops, you're in and out, depending on what they feed you. I know I went on a ride along with one of our drivers for our company, and I spent 8 days on the road with him. And I think it was after like day 2 or 3, I thought, my gosh, how many more ho-hos can I actually eat for breakfast before I am too big to, like everything was going up. My ankles were swelling up. It was a disaster because it was so in and out and quick, and they're just easy snacks to grab. And obviously if I ate that many ho-hos, it's because they were good and I liked them. But I know that health and wellness is something that's a big deal for you. So talk to our audience a little bit about how you stay healthy while living the trucker lifestyle.
So I actually got into this industry with a severe dietary restriction that I don't have a choice in.
Oh, so you were one of the lucky ones. Congratulations.
And I am allergic to dairy, so I can't eat 90% of the things in a truck stop.
There goes the ho-hos.
It helps. It does.
Yeah.
But what it does do is it makes it incredibly hard. I had an incredibly hard time at first trying to figure out what to eat or where I could get food. And honestly, it's still hard. So one of the main things that I think is the most important is making sure that you have some way to keep things cold on your truck. So whether that's a refrigerator or it's a cooler because you don't have an inverter, which I have done even recently, it takes effort, just like taking care of a dog takes effort. You got to take care of yourself. And sometimes that means taking care of your cooler that you have in your truck. And you're putting things in it that are going to kind of give you the nutrients you need. There is not a lot in potato chips, okay? And there's not a lot of good quality nutrition that comes off the roller grills in the truck stops. And I think that's just something we have to keep in mind. And sometimes I think some drivers just need to draw that hard line and say, you know what, no more. No more. I'm not going to, the only thing I'm going to buy at the truck stop, which I did once, I made this rule for myself. The only thing coming out of the truck stop for me is water. Is the only thing I'm buying from the truck stop. And I did that for several months until I built that habit that I was going to eat things that were better for me, that weren't just attractive for me. So I think one of the main attractions to like truck stop food is the immediate gratification of eating it. So they are snack foods. They are ones that were designed in a way to like literally hit our dopamine receptors like when we eat them. And it's horrible for us. And so it's gonna constantly create that craving for that rush of gratification in some way. And I think a lot of drivers look for those easy things because we are struggling with problems at home or feeling lonely or having a bad day. And our job is hard. It is stressful. It will challenge many people in many different ways. And sometimes it doesn't just end that day. It keeps going for sometimes weeks and months. And this is where we need to realize that also the things that are putting in our body are also affecting the way that we feel mentally. And so in order to take care of that, I think it's important to get things like eat your vegetables. There's no vegetables in the truck stop besides maybe like broccoli and carrots. They don't sell vegetables. They also really don't sell fruit. The fruit that they sell is terrible.
Shelby,
And,
would veggie
you know-
sticks count?
Huh?
Would those veggie stick things, the like chip type
The
veggie?
potato chips?
Well, no, like the veggie ones, right? Are those work?
Those don't count as vegetables.
Because I'm feeling guilty right now about my ho-hos as we're talking. I'm feeling really guilty.
I think heart disease is huge.
Yeah.
It's the number one killer of truck
Yeah.
drivers.
Yep.
Not only that, the number one killer of people in America.
Yeah.
But I don't think truck stops are doing us any favors. They are there for the kind of impulse purchase. And we have to recognize that. And I promise you spend that little bit of time to meal prep or to make yourself a meal on your truck instead of getting whatever it is in the truck stop. One, you will feel so much better. It's just taking that initiative.
Yeah.
And it'll serve you better in the long run.
Agreed.
Yeah. No, that's great counsel for
Great advice.
everybody. A little bit of self-discipline goes a long ways, right? Yeah.
So, Shelby, what are some of your final thoughts that you would like to share with all of the drivers out there that are listening?
Well, so first, I want to say on this healthy thing, one of my main things is a lot of drivers think exercise is their way out of feeling bad, but I think it's food, and food's a lot easier to change than to find time for exercise on the truck. I mean, don't get me wrong, exercise goes hand in hand, but I think if you change your diet, a lot can change as far as your mood and your energy and everything else. So maybe you're not an exercise person. Try changing your diet. Just try it. And also, when you run into somebody, say somebody's having a bad day or they're being mean to you, kill them with kindness. It works a lot of the time. And even if it doesn't, what you did instead was you were selfish and you took care of yourself. And it's important for you to feel good. And then also help other drivers. If you see somebody in need, offer assistance. Maybe you don't know how to fix their problem. There was one driver that I saw like at a rest area one time. I knew exactly what was wrong with his truck. He had no idea. And I said, I walked out after I was on the phone with my friend. I was watching him to see if he knew what to do. And I was like, I don't think he knows what to do. So hang on, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to go help him. It literally took me like 10 seconds to fix his problem. And I just crawled under his trailer and I shut something off real quick. And I showed him what I did. And he's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Because he couldn't keep rolling with that. It would have been a violation. But I explained to him what to do, what to tell his maintenance department. And he would have had to wait there for hours. But it took me all of 30-second interaction with this guy to literally make his day. And I think that's important for us to just take a little bit out of our day to do something for somebody else, because we all need it and it all comes full circle. So
It's great advice.
Yeah. Yeah, really good advice.
Kill them with kindness.
Kill 'em with kindness. Sounds like the title here.
I like
Kill 'em
it.
with
I like
kindness.
it. Yeah, kill them with kindness. What else do you have for Shelby, Shane?
So Shelby, like, what can you tell us about what you've got coming out, or what's going to be kind of new for you?
Projects you're working
maybe
on.
projects you've got coming out that you want to share.
Well, there's a couple of new interviews that are coming out on my channel from the truck shows. We're not sure if we're going to do them in the future. They may just be a one-time thing. There are a lot of new vlogs coming out. My company that I run right now, or that I own, contracts with FedEx Ground, and we might be branching out of FedEx Ground. So there might be new kind of vlogs having to do with something else. We're just trying to see what the future holds. And then, of course, you guys know that the 2 major truck shows, Mats and Gats, are back up and running this year. So I'm excited for those. There will be new stuff on those in 2022. And I think there's just like a lot of things that are kind of, it's expanding in a way where there's just going to be a lot of different topics. So I think there's going to be like a lot of different things. And then also we are planning, which I haven't announced yet, but we are planning on doing something for drivers who are getting into the industry, because that is a majority of my new subscribers are people who are just getting into the industry or want to get their CDL. So we're going to do a lot more content on that, and then possibly content to help them pass those initial exams, because the stuff that's out there is either really, really long and really boring, or it's not very good. And I actually have a lot of education in memory and learning and educational tactics for teaching things. So I was hoping to kind of use that to create something to help people, because not only would it make me feel good that I like was able to kind of work on something like that, but also to help a lot of people learn maybe in a way, maybe they had a hard time before, but hopefully this will help.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. So where can people find you online? Like what's your handle and everything there?
Okay, so pretty much you Google Happiness by the Mile, you will find everything. But my Instagram is @happinessbythemile, and my YouTube is Happiness by the Mile. Unfortunately, there are people pretending to be me, but you always know it's me based on the subscribers. So the one with the largest number of subscribers, and it's significantly different than the people trying to be me. I've been trying to get verified for a while, but they just won't give it to me. So,
You still want to throw it out there that easy,
by
huh?
the mile.
Good. Happiness by the Mile. That's where you can find Shelby. Shelby, before we let you go, can I ask you one last question?
Absolutely.
What is your favorite movie, like trucking movie that involves trucking?
Well, I don't know if you guys have noticed from my videos, but my ringtone is from Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey
so I
and
will
the
have
Bandit.
to
She says Smokey and the Bandit, everyone. I mean, of all the movies she can pick from, you've got Duel by Steven Spielberg in the 70s. If you haven't seen it, go check that out. It's pretty crazy. You've got Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, right? You guys all remember that? The arm wrestling one?
Yeah.
Literally
Can't forget that
in
one.
his truck,
Yep.
pumping iron. Loved Over the Top. What else do we got? Black Dog with Patrick Swayze. Sorry, I could go on and on about the trucking movies, but Smokey and the Bandit is probably my favorite too, so well done, Shelby. Shelby, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for sharing your story with us, how you're an entrepreneur, a truck driver. You're killing everybody with kindness.
Thank you.
We
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
spreading happiness out there, because the world needs more of it, especially in the industry. So
They absolutely
we
do.
appreciate what you're doing. So thank you.
So to our audience, go check out Shelby, Happiness by the Mile. She's killing everyone out there with kindness right now. So go check it out. Thank you, Shelby. We'd
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. We'd also like to thank everyone for watching or listening today to Beyond the Rig. Please go and subscribe to Beyond the Rig on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. I guess all of the above, and it pertains to social media except for maybe Snapchat or Snapchat, right, Shane?
That's right, Brett.
I just dated myself. It's Snapchat, not Chatter. And then go ahead and stream Beyond the Rig wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
We enjoyed bringing this show to you, and we hope you had fun along the way, too. We're going 10-10 for now, but you can catch us on the side on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Beyond the Rig and Drive Night. Until next time, be safe out there and keep trucking.